OC region. It's encouraging to be able to connect with you once again. Last week I told you that my wife would be joining us, so here she is.
Hi, OC family.
You know, the Bible says in Matthew 8, verse 24, that suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake so that the waves swept over the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. You know, I love the story because here you have the disciples, they're freaking out, they're going nuts, and somehow in the midst of this chaos, Jesus is sleeping. And I think there's a lesson here for us that during this time when everyone else is panicking in our world, Jesus wants us to choose peace over panic.
Yes, and we want you to know that as an OC staff, we're praying daily for the church.
Yeah.
And one of the main things we're praying for is that we will all have peace and that we can choose that peace over the panic. And last week, Ryan did a really great lesson, about our first century church when they were scattered. He talked about devotion and he talked about the compassion that they had. And they definitely were scattered. But the great thing for us during this scattered time is that we have this virtual opportunity. And God is doing some great things during this time.
Yeah, and I wanted to take some time to share some really good news. Obviously, one of the great things that's super encouraging is we're having all of these virtual services, and we're able to connect in ways that we could not connect before. One specific encouraging story I wanted to share about was in the Korean ministry. They have about 60 disciples, but they had 92 people in their virtual service last week. 11 of those were visitors. And so God is using this time to have these virtual services to connect in ways like we had never experienced in the past.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Brady Bunch. They were on to something years ago.
Yes, they were. I also wanted to share Martin Pineda was baptized yesterday, which is super encouraging.
Woo!
He's in the North OC ministry. And also wanted to remind everyone, hey, we can continue to study the Bible with people. And there's a lot of people studying the Bible right now. So please, let's stay focused on our mission. Let's continue to study the Bible with people virtually.
And welcome to the family, Martin.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to mention, I have seen the renewed fervor of the church really taking time to consider how they can spur others on towards love and good deeds.
Yeah, but we have one request, though, to help us to meet the needs of everyone. We're hoping that if you know of some needs during this time, if you could turn those into your family group leader, that would be awesome. We're having a meeting each week with the family group leaders, and during that time, we would love to collect the names and compile a list so that we could meet the needs and really continue to love one another during this time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, we're starting a church podcast that Marcel's going to be in charge of so we can improve the communications. Also wanted to mention we're going to have a church resource page on our church website that will help provide some lessons for midweeks, family devotionals, that type of thing, so that we can stay encouraged during this time and have material to really use to encourage our small groups.
Oh, and before I forget, if you could continue to give, but give online and sign up for online giving if you haven't already. And for those of you who don't really like online giving or don't feel comfortable, you can just mail your contribution to the church office at 10 Goodyear, and attention Chris Yen, and he'll take care of that for you. So don't worry about that. He'll handle that.
Absolutely. And we're going to start a new sermon series called Days That Changed the World. And Bruce is going to kick that off next week, so I'm really looking forward to that. Also, we have tomorrow, I just want to remind you that we have the International Church of Christ Day of Prayer and Fasting.
Yes.
And so I'm super excited that people from all around the world, our churches from every different country, we're all going to come together with one united focus to pray to our God, to fast, and to beg the only one who can actually solve this problem is God himself. And we're all going to be united in our prayer and fasting together to see God work a miracle. And I did also just want to just take this time, when I think about our church, I just want you guys to know that we love you, we're super encouraged by you, and we want to stay connected through this time. So let's make sure that we take the time to really love one another, and of course, make sure we're close to God during this time.
We love you.
We love you.